In the last episode, we examined a difficult claim, that elites always rule. If that is true, then the real question is not whether power exists, it is, who holds it? James Burnham believed that the 20th century produced a new ruling class, not kings, not hereditary aristocrats, not even traditional capitalists, managers. Those who control complex institutions, and once you see it, it becomes difficult to unsee. The term can be misunderstood. By managerial, Burnham did not mean a secret cabal. He did not mean an overt dictatorship. He meant something structural. Modern societies are organized through large, complex institutions. Corporations, government agencies, military structures, financial systems, regulatory bodies, universities, intelligence communities. These systems require coordination, they require technical knowledge, they require continuity, and those who manage them, those who administer them, hold power. Ownership and control, Burnham argued, have separated. Legal title remains dispersed. Operational authority concentrates. Shareholders may own corporations, but executives run them. Voters may elect representatives, but permanent institutions operate governance. Control flows through administration. In the 19th century, capitalism centered on ownership. Industrial magnates directly controlled their enterprises. But as corporations expanded, as financial systems grew more complex, as governments took on broader functions, management became indispensable. Large-scale organization cannot function without professional administrators, without technical expertise, without bureaucratic coordination. With indispensability comes authority, not through conspiracy, but through necessity. The more complex the system, the more indispensable the manager. Here the analysis becomes more subtle. Elections rotate leadership, parties rise and fall, campaigns reshape rhetoric, but administrative structures endure. Personnel change, protocols remain. Central banks continue monetary policy across administrations. Regulatory agencies draft and enforce rules year after year. Intelligence communities operate with long-term continuity. Corporate bureaucracies function regardless of shareholder turnover. Financial institutions maintain global coordination. Continuity provides stability. Without it, complex systems would fracture. But continuity also produces insulation. Experience accumulates, networks form, expertise becomes authority, and authority becomes durable. Managerial elites tend to prioritize stability, efficiency, risk minimization, system maintenance, and predictability. These are not malicious goals, they are functional ones. But over time, institutional self-preservation can become reflexive. Organizations seek to sustain themselves. Administrators protect operational continuity. Professional norms reinforce internal consensus. The system begins to defend its own structure, not through overt tyranny, but through procedural momentum. In highly complex societies, expertise is not optional. Economic policy requires technical oversight. Security policy depends on long-term coordination. Digital infrastructure demands administrative governance. Financial stability relies on regulatory frameworks. Artificial intelligence introduces new layers of oversight and control. As systems grow more intricate, the managerial layer thickens. Data collection expands. Coordination accelerates. Decision-making becomes more technical. Management capacity increases. Amplification is not inherently oppressive, but amplification raises the stakes of oversight. The risk Burnham saw. Burnham did not argue that management should disappear. The alternative to administration is chaos. Large societies cannot function without coordination, but he worried about something else. What happens when managerial power consolidates faster than it circulates? What happens when continuity outpaces contestation? What happens when expertise becomes insulated from meaningful challenge? Elites do not need to conspire. Structure is enough. They only need to persist, and persistence over time can harden into permanence. Burnham's concern was not dramatic, it was procedural. Positions become specialized, career paths narrow, entry requires credentializing requires institutional approval. Networks become self-reinforcing, promotion favors familiarity, dissent becomes career risk. No one announces exclusion, it simply becomes easier to select from the known than to risk the unknown. Over time, circulation slows, not because doors are locked, but because pathways narrow, and narrowing pathways changes outcomes. Burnham did not fear tyranny, but stagnation, not repression, but rigidity, not the collapse of order, but the hardening of it. That sharpens the philosophical distinction. Management is necessary. Complex systems require it. But necessity can drift into insulation. Insulation can slow circulation. And slowed circulation weakens competition among elites. The question is not whether we need managers. We do. The question is whether managerial power remains contestable, whether oversight keeps pace with expertise, whether continuity leaves room for renewal. In the final episode of this series, we turn to Burnham's reluctant defense of constitutional democracy, and why elite competition may be the only safeguard against stagnation. I'll see you there.